So today we start linear algebra, and the first thing that we are going to do is taking a very simple, easy look at the solution of simultaneous equations. Okay, so although if I say linear algebra, that has a very specific meaning. Our objective are twofold. If we go by the classical system of studying matrix and determinant, uh, under classical algebra, then our objective essentially is to find the solution of simultaneous equations. And but in general, in terms of modern algebra, linear algebra involves a lot of things, such as the ideas and results, theorems related to the solution space of any linear system. But obviously, our starting point is will be, as you see here, three pictures of simultaneous equations. So we're going to take a very easy example, because it is always a good idea to start with example. So we're going to take an example. Okay, and that example will be quite easy. So let's look at the example. So 2x minus y is equal to 0, and minus x plus 2y is equal to 3. So this is our example. Now you may think that you know this, how to solve it from, I think, class 7 or 8. But that's not really what we are interested here. We are interested in obviously the particular solution of this, but we are more interested in approaches. That is, how to approach a system of linear equations. And we are interested in it because our ultimate objective is to talk about the types of solution that we can have of a simultaneous equation system, and we will try to relate two other things with them. Number one is matrix determinant, and number two is vector. Traditionally speaking, linear algebra can be started by any of the two things. We can either start with vector space, or we can start with, as we call it, linear transformation approach. Linear transformation approach, in the sense that, I mean, to put it in simpler terms, we can start with matrix determinant. So here our approach will be following this. So that is why we are starting with the solution of a specific problem, and then as we proceed, we will take different kinds of examples, which are obviously not easy as this one, and which will have different kinds of solutions than what you studied, I think, from your previous experience. And then we'll move into vector spaces. Just to mention that in physics, I think you have come up with the term vector. Although mathematically speaking, a vector, what is a vector, has a very specific meaning, which you have not studied in physics, obviously. But geometrically speaking, they mean the same thing. Okay, so let's start. So the first take that we'll have is called row picture. It is called row picture. And what we'll be essentially doing here is basically the simplest and oldest one. We are going to take Cartesian coordinate system, and then we are going to plot these two and then find the intersection point the traditional way, in the sense that you learn this method first. Okay. So my Cartesian coordinate. So first one is basically 2x minus y go to 0. That means, okay, let me just name them x, y, and 0. So you're looking at 2x equal to y. So obviously it will pass through origin. And if I have to plot, if x is 1, then y is 2. So just to have an approximate idea, this is my 2x minus y equal to 0. Okay, so the first one. Now the second one, minus x plus 2y equal to 3. So first obviously is the intercept. When y equal to 0, x equal to minus 3, so that will take us somewhere here. And when x equals to 0, y equal to 1.5, so somewhere here. Now if we connect them, it will be like this. Right? Yeah? Okay. So it will be like this. So this will be my x plus 2y equal to 3. And as you can see, even our hand wave diagram is quite close to the perfect one, because if you solve it, so the point of intersection becomes our solution. Right? And mathematically speaking, we can do this. 2x minus y equal to 0. If you are interested in keeping the two equations all the time, then if I multiply the second one by 2, so it becomes minus 2x plus 4y equal to 6. Is it? Yes. And this makes yes. So this will be 0. This will be plus 3y, 6. So y equal to 2, x equal to 1. So as I was saying, that approximately we have the correct point. So this is one approach called row picture. Technically speaking, we are looking at each of the equations in these directions. Why I'm saying this? Let's go to the, obviously after row we have column picture. So let's go to the column picture and we'll understand why we are saying this. Okay. So the same problem, with a different approach. Okay, now to use this, to get the column picture, we have to rewrite this in a very different way. Okay, and for that we will introduce something which is called vector. Geometrically, you can understand them as we have studied in physics. They are basically directed line segments. Directed line segments. So for our very innocent purpose of doing what we are doing, this is fine. Okay, so how to rewrite it? So we'll take the view of this. So 2 minus 1 into x plus minus 1, 2 into y, and then 0, comma 3. Okay. So let's look at the problem in this fashion. What are we trying to do? This 2 minus 1 is a vector. This one is also a vector. And this one is also a vector. Yes, obviously they look like columns. They look like columns, and for that they are called column vector. Okay. So what are then x and y? They are coefficients. They are coefficients. Okay. So it is their value that we are interested in. All right. So what are we trying to do? We have one vector, let's say v1, and then we have some coefficient x, plus we have another vector v2, and we have another coefficient y, and they make another third vector v3. So we want to find x and y in such a way that adding these two numbers will give me, these two vectors basically, these two vectors will give me v3. Okay. So what do we learn here? That if I multiply a constant with a vector, if I multiply a constant, so a coefficient, numerical coefficient, it remains a vector. This also will obviously remains a vector, and then adding two vectors will become a vector. My problem is that it has to be v3. Okay, so let's look at the diagram. Okay. I hope my diagram will be completed in here. Okay. So the first one is 2 and minus 1. Okay. So 1, 2, and then minus 1. So it is, let me take the distance a bit huge, bigger. So let's say 1, then 2. Let's just say this is 1. So, okay. So this is one vector, which is my 2 comma minus 1. Then there is minus 1, 2. So minus 1 is, if I go by this line, so minus 1 is this. And 2, so 2 is 1, 2. So we are looking at a vector which looks like this. Okay, and then the other vector is 0, 3. So 0 and 3, 3 means 1 here. So this one is my vector. Okay. So what is my problem? Speaking in this picture, geometrically we are trying to understand what is my problem. My problem is I want to add this one, which is my v1, and this one, which is my v2, to get this one. So how to do that? Obviously we are going to use whatever you prefer. You can say parallelogram law, or you can say, I think the other one is triangular law or something like that. So anyways, the idea is basically the law states how you join the vectors, right? Okay. So all right, so let us take v2 from here. Okay, so if I take v2 from here, I'm saying I'm drawing a parallel line, which is something which is parallel to v2, right? Okay, so is it correct? No. Okay, let me just hand wave things a bit. Okay, so it will be, if I add them, it will be 1 and 1. So that is 1, 1. So that will be, yeah, I can actually draw it quite properly. Yeah, so if I add it once, if I add v2 once from here, I reach basically 1 comma 1. So it will be like this. Right? Okay. And I reach this point, and I have not reached 0 comma 3, right? So I have to reach, so here one length of v2 is gone. Then I need another one which will take me to 0, 3. So basically, this vector is 2v2. So with v1, if I take 2v2 here, then the third line of the triangle is my 0, 3. So that means I've got my answer, and the answer is 1 into 2, minus 1 plus 2 into minus 1, 2 is equal to 0, 3, right? Yeah. Okay. So that tells me that my x is 1 and my y is 2. So this is how we do it. This is the column picture. That is, we do it using the ideas of vector. So this is how we do it in vector using the column picture, that is of vector. Now we'll go to a third picture, which I call it the analytical view or the analytical picture. So the analytical picture, which you know, but not all the details. Okay, so what is the analytical picture here? So for that, we need a very different kind of a notation. We need a representation which is called matrix. So what is the representation? 2, minus 1, minus 1, 2, x, y equal to 0, 3. Okay, first of all, in this you can see that this one was our first column vector and this one was our second column vector, but do not ever try to relate them this way. Okay, although numerically they are same, speaking mathematically they are entirely different. The first difference is that this is just a representation. All these 4 numbers, they are basically coefficients. Okay, so that's why this is called the coefficient matrix. Coefficient matrix. In general, we denote it by capital A. Then comes xy, which is the vector now. So earlier these 2 were vectors, but here the picture is different. Now this one is the vector, which in vector notation I can write x. Okay, and this one is another vector which will become, I'll write it as b. So ax equal to b. Whenever we'll want to treat this system in analytical fashion, or even when we'll be talking about the the underlying behavior of the matrix given the system of equation, we will take this form. So ax equal to b, where a is the coefficient matrix, x is the vector, and b is another vector. So what is our problem here? Our problem is that we have a vector, let's say some v1, and then we have a matrix, something which is working on v1, and it is changing v1 to a very specific vector. Here I can write v2, which is our 0, 3. Okay, so basically we are looking at a function which is taking v1 and making it v2. Now what is our answer? Our answer is that v1, which following this function is becoming V2. Okay. Now this V1, it can be unique. It may not exist, or it can be infinite, infinitely many. So infinitely many. Okay. So there are all these possibilities, and we'll talk about these possibilities. All these possibilities become apparent when we study this coefficient matrix A. This A tells me what kind of situation I am facing, whether I'm dealing with a unique solution or I'm dealing with a set of equations for which solution does not exist, so not exist, or whether we have infinitely many solutions. So we'll go into all of that. But to understand that, first we have to realize the fact that this is the view, this is the picture. That's how we view it. Coefficient matrix, vector transforming to another vector. Our problem is to find this vector. And as an answer, we have these three options. Which one of them is correct? That is found by the coefficient matrix. And by working on a different matrix, which is called the augmented matrix, we get the solution. You see, in general, in your high school mathematics, all the problems that you have solved, they dealt with a situation where you have the answer. But mathematics, it first guarantees that there is an answer. And once it guarantees that there is an answer, then only it tries to find that answer, because finding an answer to a very specific problem is a secondary issue. The primary issue is to ensure that you have the solution, that there is a solution. Because if there is not, then there is no point of wasting time. And here, our concentration is very little on the actual solution. Our major concentration point is whether do we have a solution or not. That's our main stress point. All right. So that we can get from A. And that we get by working on the augmented matrix. So what is augmented matrix? It is written like this: A, then a colon, B. Sometimes people write it like A and then a bar, then B. Okay. Both of them are fine. So what is basically this? This is the coefficient matrix A written as it is, and then an extra column where B is written. Okay. So if this is a square matrix, augmented matrix is bound to be a non-square matrix. Just to say, for example, in our problem, the augmented matrix is this one: 2, -1, -1, 2, and then 0, 3. So you have A here, you have B here. So this is my augmented matrix. Okay. So you're going to work on that, and it will give us, first, do we have an answer to the question, do we have a solution? And second, if we have a solution, what is that solution? Okay. Now, we're going to slightly touch one method which is quite popular, but which does not involve matrix, which involves determinant. And that method is basically, I'm basically talking about Cramer's rule. So remember, Cramer's rule involves determinant, not matrices. So what is Cramer's rule? Just to find x, x. So for x, what you do is you take the determinant of A, determinant of the coefficient matrix, so 2, -1, -1, 2. And then in the numerator, you change the column, that column of A by B. of which you are trying to find the answer. So we are trying to find the value of x. First column goes to x. So first column will change to b. So 0, 3, minus 1, 2. And then we solve it. So this is 4 minus 1, so that is 3. And this again is 3. So we have 1. X equals to 1. Okay. So that's Cramer's rule. Now we are going to work with the augmented matrix. So 2 minus 1 minus 1 2 0 3. Okay. So to work with this one, and as I said, to answer two questions, number one, do we have a solution? Number two, what is the solution? We are going to apply Gauss-Jordan elimination method. You may think that Cramer's rule is way better than this after we do it. But trust me, if the matrix is even 3 cross 3, using Cramer's rule is not really a good idea. So Gauss-Jordan elimination method. We will apply this method to answer the two questions that I asked.